inside of us. And it's wonderful when we have the courage to tell it.
And the truth shall set you free!
Welcome to 8192 The Truth with Brother Sand and the Godfather. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also follow the show on Twitter at 8192 The Truth and on Facebook at facebook.com/8192 The Truth. Now, here's your host, the Godfather, Joel D. Supernom.
All right, week of Chael, day 3. All right, so I get, I got a little dusted up from that old girl yesterday. But man, I tell you what, that girl's a looker. That girl's a looker. I'm probably never, ever going to hear from her again. But that's top shelf right there. Anyway, so she dusted me up a little bit. Day 3, the week of Chael. Let me tell you a Chael story real quick. Yesterday was a pretty cool story. Today is, so we go do this. I'm from Kankakee, Illinois, and I've been back since I graduated high school. Maybe 6 times, or 6 to 8 times. And now we're talking, 30 years, even over that. So we go do this live show, and the only people that show up are my friends and coaches. It's a live show. We do a little bit, kind of like we did at our podcast with some back and forth stuff, or his podcast. Anyway, I start off, I kill it. I have a neat opening, and, I throw some marbles at him and this, that, and other. And so Chael, now I've known Chael since 2000. We became pretty close friends real early on. So 2001, and, by 2002, we're thick as thieves. So what's that? 16 years? Been almost, I go farther back in his career than anybody. Not one person, other than his mom, goes back as far as I do. So we're at this show, and he tells the story about, Joel, this, that, and the other. It's kind of weird. We were neighbors. He comes over one day and says, hey, I need a ride to Sherwood, or where it was, Sheridan. Yeah, well, okay. I'll give him a ride to Sheridan. Come pick him up. And, he takes me, it's where we're going. Yeah, Sheridan, you can drop me off. I drop him off at a prison. Okay. Makes me look like a fool. None of it was true. I mean, he did drop me off at prison. That was true. But other than that, they wrote about it in the paper. Those idiots in the 3K. That's what they'll remember. So in the week of Chael, day 3, he dusted me up pretty good on that one. All right. So doing a podcast every day in the week of Chael is a little bit difficult, because this Conor melee thing, there's more information coming out. There's more video coming out. So first I was against Khabib, and then I was like for Khabib, knowing Dylan Dennis, whatever the hell his name is. He seems to be a jerkwad. Well, there's some video that came out, and it actually shows somebody in Khabib's management just basically, grabbing a hold of Dylan Dennis, and all Dylan Dennis does is push him away. He didn't do anything other than that. And Khabib jumps over the cage. Now, I thought he went coast to coast. I thought he jumped on top of the cage and did the flying jump, the flying 2-kicker from the top rope, from the top of the cage. Turns out he didn't. He just jumped off the platform, which is about maybe 2.5 feet high. So it really wasn't that much. So my final conclusion on pro Khabib, negative Khabib on this is I'm going to say, again, negative Khabib. He still wouldn't have been in that much trouble if his boys didn't jump into the cage and start swatting Conor around. Another part of this gets going is it looks like Conor was coming across the cage, trying to get across the cage, and he took a swipe at somebody. They pull Conor back into the cage, and then two guys mug Conor. Well, here's your problem. The hay's out of the barn as soon as Khabib goes into the crowd. Anything that Conor did, to me, is irrelevant. What should the punishment be? 6 months. 6 months, big fine. Run that fight back. Tony Ferguson, he's in the business of getting screwed over. So, I mean, Tony's just going to have to take one on the team because they're going to, Conor's going to sell 1.5 million pay-per-views on the next fight, and you kind of got to do it. It is, at the end of the day, a business. You run that fight back. That's all you do. It has been publicized that DC is going to fight the Beast in less than a month. That, first off, I don't know. You've got Diaz and Poirier on the top of the card. That's all you need. That's all you need. Then you got the women fighting for the 125-pound title. I don't know why you have to move heaven and earth for the fans because it's at Madison Square Garden to make it feel like you need to have a super card. What should happen in the DC fight? Well, what should happen is DC should take him down and get him out of there. That's probably submit him. I believe that's probably what will happen to the Beast. Why is the Beast taking the fight? He's taking the fight for the whole reason anyone fights is for the money. They're going to pay, I bet he makes $1 million, real close to it. And yeah, he's going to run out there and get his fight on for $1 million. Of course he is. Anybody would. Title fight, little pub for the next month. He's already in whatever conditioning he is in, he's already in it. So, take a couple days off, take 3 or 4 days off, work out for a couple weeks and go get a paycheck. It doesn't jeopardize Brock DC. He deserves it. The Beast deserves it. Deserves a title shot. Go ahead and give it to him. Go ahead and give it to him. All right, I'm going to have Kevin jump on the back of this because I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I do like to get the old week of Chael in, day 3. Yeah, I mean, what would I say to Chael if he was listening to this thing? I'd say rest up, fight that guy in a phone booth. Real simple. Fight him in a phone booth. Make it a Greco-Roman match. Greco-Roman, drop down on the cage, get that double leg, put him down and beat on him. All you got to do is take him down twice. Maybe 3 times. But twice should do it. He should be able to get him out of there with the second takedown. So either Kevin's going to come on here shortly and philosophize, or that's all you got today. Peace.
Guys, you have heard me talk about them before, and I'm going to keep talking about them again. Project Build Your Life Daily. It is our newest show sponsor, and their products are phenomenal. I am currently taking the Test Booster, the Fat Burner, as well as their pre-workout. And guys, I'm telling you, it is all natural, it is all clean, and it works. I get clean, clear, sustained energy in my workout without the crash at the end. It tapers off very nicely. I typically work out in the evening, so I'm taking the pre-workout at 6 o'clock, and come 8:30, 9 o'clock, I have no issues sleeping. These products are fantastic. The ingredients are clean, and the company's mission could not be more in line with our show. Project Build Your Life Daily. Like the Godfather and I always say, you're either one day in or one day out. Get yourself in with Project Build Your Life Daily. They are offering listeners of our show 25% off. That's huge. That's 25% off your total order with the code THETRUTH at checkout. So go in, buy some protein, buy some test booster, whatever it is that you need to help get you to the next phase of your health and well-being. Throw it in the shopping cart, go to checkout, use the code THETRUTH. 25% off your total order. Anything that they sell, supplements, protein, workout gear, t-shirts, whatever it is, 25% off, guys. You cannot beat that. And I'll tell you what, just a little thing from me to you, that test booster, all natural, but boy, oh boy, is there a little extra lead in my pencil. I'm telling you what, guys, Project Build Your Life Daily. Check out their website, check out their page on Instagram. It's Project BYLD. Again, use the code THETRUTH at checkout. Save yourself 25% off. Who's better than that? Boom.
Guys, I apologize ahead of time for the next section. The audio is not the best, and I understand that. I was recording in my car on the way to an appointment, so if it's a little crackly, if it's a little fuzzy, accept my apologies. The content is still golden, and you know you like it, so cut me some slack on this one, and we'll be back crystal clear on the next one.
What's up, guys? Brother Sin here. Just wanted to piggyback on Joel's segment here on day 3 of Chaek week. I like the story Joel told about the event in Kankakee and how the little small town paper picked up on the story of Chaek driving Joel to the prison, and that's what they chose to use in the newspaper. I thought that was funny. I was at that event. It was a lot of fun. I had a VIP table, still have the sign hanging up in my garage. It was a good time. And on that note, let's talk a little bit about Chaek. One of the things that you'll find with people of fame, people of celebrity, is they always tell you, be careful in meeting your heroes and things of that nature, because oftentimes they don't turn out to be what we had hoped for. And I've had that in certain instances with people. I've met some people that I looked up to, and they have turned out to greatly disappoint, both in action and in their willingness to show you any attention or just respect for your admiration. Chaek has been everything but that. Meeting Chaek was a huge highlight of my life. Obviously, as has been talked about on our show, and Chaek's even mentioned it on his podcast a few times, I did name my son Chaek, not only because I like the name and it's unique, but because of Chaek P. Sonnet. Big fan of him as a fighter, but more so as a person, a businessman, as a self-made marketing guru. I mean, the guy has created an empire from his fighting skills. He's brilliant in front of the camera. I've said it before. I can see him getting calls routinely from Monday Night Football, from the Today Show, from everything else, ETV, Bravo, just because he is so well-spoken, so quick on his feet, and so savvy in front of the camera and on the microphone. So I had a lot of admiration for him, and just his toughness in the cage as well, and being a wrestler, myself being a wrestler. So a lot of different reasons that led me to name my son Chaek. So meeting him was a huge highlight. Having him meet my son was a huge highlight. In all the times that I have met him, he has been as gracious as you could possibly imagine, as humble and as friendly as you could ever hope for. Being nice to me, being nice to my wife. The first time I met him was directly after a weigh-in. He was obviously, had been cutting, was tired, was exhausted, hadn't yet refueled, and yet took the time to talk to me, talk to my wife, pay great compliments on to my son, and just be as genuine as possible. And then in future follow-up, again, just as nice as could be, and treated me like an equal, as a colleague, as a person. So he has gone, in my mind, up to that next level because he embodies everything you hope your heroes embody, and he continues to be an elite level fighter, a self-made marketing empire, and just somebody that I continue to be proud of having named my son after. So that's my little bit of kissing Chael's butt today during Chael Fight Week. Just to let people know that look up to him but may not have met him, that he fits the bill. He lives up to everything you hope he would, and just an all-around really cool, really great guy. I will be there at his fight this week. I'm very excited about that. I've got great seats, VIP seats, and I hang out in the lounge, hopefully meet some other A-listers. But again, it's just going to be a great time. I do everything I can to make all Chael's fights. Been to LA to watch the Tito fight, was at Madison Square Garden for the last fight. Now I'm going to be there for this one at Nassau. So I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be there for weigh-ins. I'm going to be podcasting live from the weigh-ins. Take it all in. I mean, I'm no big fan of Fedor, but got to admit, he does have a certain aura about him from his past successes in Pride and elsewhere, which we all know have been fixed. Not so much a legend in my eyes, but a shill for the Yakuza, fighting for the money and so forth over there. But it's going to be a good time. I'm going to spend Friday evening, Saturday morning, afternoon, roaming around New York City, see what I can get myself into. So it's going to be good fun. It's going to be a great weekend, and I look forward to Chael doing just what Joel said, getting him up against those cage, turning it into a Greco-Roman match, getting that high double, dragging him down, and just put him away. I just don't think Fedor has the skill set at this point in his career to combat the skills that Chael has. I don't see Fedor out wrestling Chael at this point, being able to keep up with Chael's cardio at this point, and being able to fight off what Chael does so well. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to him moving on to the finals, where I most certainly, again, will be cage side. So it's going to be a great, fantastic week, and look forward to podcasting live there. I may even do a Facebook live session from the weigh-in, so we can have it all on live video. So check that out. I'll keep it posted on the Facebook page and on Twitter if we do end up doing that. So again, it'll be a really cool experience. Good time for you guys to see not only Chael, but some of you who are also big Fedor fans. You'll get to see that as well. So eyes peeled. Beyond that, this weekend, we haven't really got a chance to talk about it together. What a fight, what a melee, and damn it if Chael didn't get on the mic before me to a wider audience and say all the things that I was thinking, but in a much more eloquent and perfunctory way. It was not the barn-burning, one-sided domination that many people are calling it. Yes, Khabib won the fight by submission in the 4th round. He did win round 2, 10-8, showed great ground control, but Conor did win round 3. He did. The scorecard showed it. The scorecards turned in, as Chael said on the show, had Conor winning round 3. Conor was able to maintain enough energy while getting mounted and dominated in rounds 1 and 2 that he was able to come back and win rounds 3. Had he not got submitted at that point in round 4, who knows? But if you follow other podcasts like I do and listen to other things, his coach, John Kavanaugh, was on the Joe Rogan show yesterday, and he admitted that he mistakenly, Conor as well, they didn't fight to not lose, but their whole game plan, their whole training strategy was that of a defensive mindset. So they didn't so much work on perfecting and fine-tuning Conor's offensive abilities, how to counter, how to strike and attack on Khabib. But they focused more on simply being defensive, avoiding certain takedowns, avoiding certain bad positions. And Kavanaugh said he truly believed that was to Conor's detriment in this fight. And as Chael said, again, so eloquently and better than I could, that will we see a rematch? Most assuredly. Will the outcome be any different? As a huge Conor fan, it pains me to say, but probably not. Khabib just has a style of grappling and wrestling and control that is undeniable and really something that you can't train for. Will Conor perform better? Definitely. Maybe he'll catch that shot a few times that left like he did with Nate Diaz, put him down enough to win a close decision. But honestly, they go again. Conor looks better, but does Conor win? Probably not. But I'll tell you another thing. It really irks me seeing all these people spouting off online, Billy Keyboard Warrior saying how it just proves that Conor is nothing better than slightly average, and this fight showed it, that he's a nobody, he's all just a mouthpiece and never deserved what he's gotten. And I find that to be absolute hokum. This fight did more to highlight Khabib's absolute greatness and his absolute dominating grappling ability against a high-level competitor than it did to shine the light on Conor's frailties. I think Conor is every bit as good as advertised. He has always come through, done what he said he was going to do, and in highlight reel fashion. So this did nothing to diminish his skill set or his legacy. It only served to heighten the worldwide knowledge that Khabib is that damn good. The way he is able to get someone down, get on top of them, and the way he's able to close their legs in, get their legs crossed in between his legs and full mount to the point where they've got no leverage is incredible. So get away from the keyboard. Stop shouting to the world like you're a tough guy, telling everybody that Conor's not that good. He's a nobody. He's only a mouthpiece, and he's only made the money he has because Dana and the company chose to push him. No. Conor is fantastic. He's a once-in-a-generation fighter. He is that damn good. But Khabib is just that much better. That much better in a style that Conor cannot train for, that no one can train for. Will anybody beat Khabib in the cage? It's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Unless someone truly catches him flush early on and clips him enough that they can capitalize quickly on a TKO, I don't see it happening. He's just got an indomitable style that you cannot prepare for. And obviously you cannot defend. So shut your mouths in talking that Conor is a nobody. It's disrespectful and it just makes you look foolish. So the next UFC card, MSG, changing and changing and changing. So we had Nate and Dustin Poirier. Good fight. Good enough for a headliner for me. I think it's a solid fight. So then they add Valentina Shevchenko and this other broad that her name escapes me at this point. I apologize. So now we hear it's going to be the Black Beast Derek Lewis, maybe the most congenial, funny guy in the UFC, against champ Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight title. So they ink that, and now not only do they add that, but then they pull the Shevchenko fight. They repair her up with Joanna Jędrzejczyk in December in Canada for UFC 231. And now we hear this morning that Poirier is out injured, and so Nate's been pulled from the card. Constant changing on this super card at MSG. So now we've got the headliner in Derek Lewis versus DC at heavyweight with a middling card underneath with Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz off the card. Shevchenko pulled, moved to December to fight Joanna. And as Joel said, what a lot of shuffling and changing because it's MSG. I mean, I get it. It's a hallowed venue. It is absolutely a hallowed venue where some of the biggest boxing matches in history have been, where the hallowed New York Knicks of the 1970s with Walt Frazier, some of the great games in sports, some of the biggest concerts. Andrew Dice Clay sold out the Garden in one of the first true icon of comedy. But now it's as if that the UFC or whoever it may be owe it to the venue. Like the venue has an opinion in the matter, that we owe it to them, that we can't give anything but the absolute best to the venue. It's better than T-Mobile, it's better than TD Garden in Boston, it's better than Quicken Loans in Cleveland, which in aura and recognition it is. But it's being treated like it is a vocal, valid third party who has a certain say and who has an importance in the matter. So we have to treat her as a cherished, respectful thing, because we would hate for MSG to get mad at us. So constant shuffling the card, constant changing, this fight on, this fight's off, pulling this fight, adding this fight. So I don't know if we'll see any more changes. I'm really hoping that we get Nate Diaz back on the card against somebody. Maybe Conor. Maybe he'll take the quick turnaround and cash in on that. We know Conor's a businessman. But really anybody against Nate Diaz, getting him back in the cage would be enjoyable. So hopefully we see that. So what do you think, guys? We definitely want to hear your input on both the melee this weekend after the fight, the fights in general, what's coming up. We haven't even talked about the other half of the bracket for Bellator with Ryan Bader. Why am I blanking on his name? I'm a big fan of Matt Mitrione. God, I couldn't blank on the last name. Meathead versus Bader. I gotta think Bader has got the wrestling and the cardio to grind it out. I think, if anything, that's Mitrione's weak point, is his wrestling. But he definitely has that one-punch power. We've seen what he did to Fedor in the first round, and if he can clip Bader early on, I think he's got a shot. Mitrione's always had the benefit of being a little more athletic and a little quicker than nearly all the heavyweights he's fought. But this is a Ryan Bader, the 205-pound champ, stepping up a division, so he's naturally going to be a little quicker, have a little more cardio. Bader's one of the more cardio-driven fighters at 205. Now put him at heavyweight. It's between him and Chael for cardio at that weight. So I think he's definitely got an advantage there, but he's going to have to avoid the Mitrione bum rush, getting clipped and getting caught early on. But that's a great fight at Mohegan Sun on Friday. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, that fight is Friday night on the Paramount Network, live and free on Paramount. And then we got Chael Fedor on Saturday. So you've got 2 nights in a row of fantastic fights. The heavyweight Grand Prix, the way it used to be in Pride, consecutive fights. Maybe not all in one night, but 2 nights in a row. That is exciting. That adds excitement to the sport, and I like what Scott Coker did with that. I think it was a brilliant play. I think having them back-to-back is ideal, and it's going to make for a very exciting weekend. It's going to bring a lot of attention and a lot of talk to Bellator, which is cool. They've got a lot of great fighters. Speaking of, I saw something online, which I'm interested to get your guys' take on it. Somebody had mentioned they thought a great ideal fight for Khabib, being that you just don't see anybody in the UFC that matches up with his skill set to make it an interesting fight. A super fight between Khabib and Michael Chandler. Now that's interesting. with Chandler's wrestling and his striking ability, he's definitely a better striker. So Conor's a better striker than Khabib, but doesn't have near the grappling or the wrestling experience to make it overly competitive. But Chandler also a better striker than Khabib, but has comparable wrestling. So that would be a fantastic super fight. You know, will we ever see any of these crossover fights? Who knows? But I think that would be outstanding. That, and obviously a matchup at 170 or even 155, Ben Askren Khabib, would be one hell of a dream fight. I mean, two wrestlers with that kind of skill, that would truly present some competition for Khabib. And we can only hope in our fantasy land that maybe we'll see a fight like that before it's all said and done. So that's what I got on the fights, guys. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Like I said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on site. Hopefully get to spend a few minutes with Chael. You know, give him my best wishes, and I'm going to be there cage side rooting him on. So it's going to be fun. We'll talk more as we get into this week, as we get closer to the fights. And again, I may stream live from the weigh-ins. But this was my take to follow up on Joel. You know, the Knucklehead had the show yesterday with his 8192 girl. I don't know how the guy's got time to get into some of the shenanigans he does. I know he's working and he's got lad, and you know, he's trying to cut his path out there in Oregon. But he still finds time to find stories. If nothing else, the guy has lived a life full of stories. You know, I often find myself feeling a little boring in comparison because I guess I just don't put myself in the position to have the kind of experiences that bring about those tales. So good for him. I hope it worked out. I hope you know, it works out in the long run for him and the T-shirt girl. But he's just a character, and you know, that's why we love him. But until next time, guys, this is Brother Sin. I got to go meet a big client, sell some shit. So until next time, peace.